Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking another look at the Lego Creator 3-in-1 Retro Camera Set. This is set number 31147. It has 261 pieces and I paid $20 for this set. So it's a Creator 3-in-1. I've already done a video looking at the main model here, the retro camera. I've already done a video looking at the alternate build for this kind of camcorder, which is what I have in front of me, which means that in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the last alternate build, which looks to be like a television set or, a TV kind of in a retro style here. I'm assuming this one's kind of the C model or the one that uses the fewest pieces. And I'm going to reserve what my thoughts are till the end, and then I can maybe give what my initial reaction was or what I thought my thoughts were going to be when I get there. So in this video, I'm going to take apart this alternate model of the camcorder. I'm going to put together the last alternate model for the television, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I disassemble this and while I put together this, I will speed the video up and then I'll slow it back down to review the last alternate model for this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the disassembly for this alternate model of the camcorder for this retro camera Creator 3-in-1 set, and while we look at the build for the last alternate model in this TV kind of television set, I wanted to say thanks and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. So we're done taking apart the camcorder alternate model and we start working on the TV. This was had some unique things here. I'm not totally sold on some of the choices for what parts to use where, but as you can see, we're kind of building out the base of the TV screen here, and we're leaving room for where some different knobs and dials can be put on. We add a nice border around there, which gives it a retro feel, and then we add the legs, and now on to my review for this alternate model. Okay, so here is the third alternate model for this Lego Creator 3-in-1 retro camera set. So this is like the C model, I think, and this is supposed to be like a vintage television set, I believe. There's something about it that screams maybe like 50s to 60s to me. Something about the like rounded kind of tiling edges here and the way the antenna is, or it feels kind of almost Art Deco-ish. So maybe it was like 60s, 70s, because even if it was a TV that, I don't know. I could be completely off base from that, but people keep pieces of technology around for longer than they just exist, so if this was it feels like an older TV, still a box TV, but this is kind of interesting. So as far as being thematically similar to the other ones, I think this is a little bit of a miss. It would have been great to get a different style of camera or something like that, but maybe this is potentially the closest thing. The build was a little bit more interesting than I thought it was going to be based on seeing images of this, but it's still not terribly impressive. So we can see all of the pieces here left over that were in the main model and not in this one. Some of them were in the alternate model of the camcorder that aren't in this one. So this big plate here, the disc piece used for the lens, this big wheel well or rim or whatever used for some of the lenses, and a couple of the other pieces here not used. Also notably, does not use the fabric piece, the strap from the main camera, which as far as I know, this is like a special piece made for this set, which is interesting, very, very cool, but none of the alternate builds made use of that. So we can kind of see over here as far as like if this used more or less pieces than the camcorder. I think it's pretty close, actually. I think it's almost the same. There's just a couple notable changes, but overall it uses a pretty similar amount of pieces. We can see this one does use all of the stickered pieces, all of the window panes there, and I believe I put those in the order that the instructions had, because I had already applied the stickers from the first model. But you know, as far as I know, this is not a real kind of shot that would be on a TV, and also yeah, it's not the most realistic. But it's something. They have images there where the screen would be. I do like the design of the legs, and they're sturdier than I thought they would be, because they are you know, 2 studs long here at the back, so it's not just resting on these angled ones, but the angled ones gives it a really nice profile there. We have the antenna on top that can be angled to get different you know, channels potentially, and stuff like that. We have maybe some buttons on the side right here, some different buttons and dials, maybe for channels, maybe for volume, and then maybe, I don't know if they had such thing as like an input select back there, but there's some different stuff here. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. I'm imagining, in my head, this seems like a TV before there was really remotes, so probably one that buttons and dials needed to be manually switched, but also ones that, you know, by adjusting the antenna here, maybe could get different over-the-air channels, depending on where it's sort of aiming towards. I think overall, you know, the tiling out around here is pretty good. It does have some nice, like, okay, 3 studs here, 3 studs here, here, which is nice consistency. The little black corners there don't bother me as much. As far as thickness goes, it's like 3 bricks thick, or a little more, because plate layer here, plate layer here, plate layer here, and then the tile layer, and then there's 2 full brick layers there. We can see some of the off colors on the back, so some of the blue, some of the red, same on the other side there. Not my favorite. You know, the little blue that peeks through down here doesn't bother me too much. We can also see some of it down there at the bottom of the screen, as well as some of that dark bluish gray and black. Looking at the bottom, we can see some interesting uses of pieces. I think, you know, these kind of half round brick pieces, I'm assuming, are just what needed to be used there, because we didn't have other substitutions. But actually, now that I'm looking at it, we do have this 1x2 brick, this 1x2 brick, and this could have been used. They're not perfect substitutions in there to make this all like flush. Maybe it's not supposed to, so I actually don't know what these yellow bits are supposed to be, and maybe they're supposed to be something. I don't know if there's, you know, I don't think you would see the cathode ray tube or whatever was in old TVs, you know, from the bottom like that. But it could be that this is supposed to be some other detail. Because I don't know that, it's not my favorite use of parts, when there was maybe potentially other options here that could have worked. And you know, as far as like this brown goes, the camcorder used some of that, and that was visible. This one certainly does, and around the sides as well. Not too much of an issue for me, but I would have liked, you know, more consistency with some of that if we were going to have kind of the brown coming through there. I think overall the design for how we get kind of the screen area and the dial areas and the buttons and the controls is pretty good, pretty well done. So I like that, and you know, this can stand on its own. It's not super stable, but we can see, you know, we do have the full, like, you know, 1x2 here at the bottom, does have that ingot tile there, but we have a good bit of stuff on either side of the legs there, to the front and the back. So it's not crazy stable, but it's also not terrible. I wouldn't use it as a bookend necessarily, but I'm sure this could sit fine on a shelf just as well. There's not, in my mind, really play with this one, and you know, for Most of the other two models, the retro camera and the camcorder, there's not a ton of play for those either. There's a little bit, I would say. Just the camcorder had the flip open screen. That's something. The main model, the retro camera, you could open it up. You could swap the film reels in there. You could turn the knobs. You could push buttons and different stuff. And it had the strap. So there at least is like more kind of functionality built into the design than this one. This is very much just a Lego build that would sit somewhere and could be admired, and if that's the case, it's visually not the most coherent. It's not the most well done, just because of the color issues and stuff like that it doesn't feel great even as like a display model necessarily. So I would have loved to see this last model have something that, either fits in line more with like a retro film or video kind of device, which this is tangentially related, or and then also having kind of some more functionality, because as is, I don't really consider this as having any play, any real functions. But it could be something that is nostalgic. For when I grew up, the retro camera and the camcorder made a lot more sense. I didn't necessarily ever have TVs that were like this. I think probably my parents did, but I'm not 100% sure. It just wasn't kind of the era that I grew up in, even though I grew up with box TVs or rear projection TVs, and then the transition to plasma and flat screens and LED and all the different stuff. But this feels like slightly before my time, so it doesn't really have much nostalgia value to me personally. I could see people out there having value or seeing that value in this, because maybe they or their parents or their grandparents or somebody they knew had a TV that was like this, and that's potentially worth it for somebody. But I think there are better ways that Lego could design and build a retro TV set that could be a kind of nice display thing, but also maybe not. I mean, TVs are just the way that they're shaped, and the way that they were shaped back then, and what they have isn't terribly interesting to look at when it's not a TV. They're kind of supposed to fade into the background, and just whatever's the picture is supposed to be there. And so to have a kind of display model that's just supposed to harken back to an older TV is not my favorite choice. Overall, I think it did an okay job using pieces. It did use more of the bigger plates than I thought it would. It actually is slightly bigger than I thought it was going to be based on the box art, but it's still relatively small. And it's a fine little size here, and it's very decent. I wouldn't say this is an example of a Creator 3-in-1 where the alternate models could have been their own set. I didn't really find that with the camcorder, and I don't find that with this. And they're not up to the level where they're so good and use the provided parts in such a great way that it crosses that border into being wow, this could have been its own thing. Because I actually think there is a way to do something like this better than this without too many changes. So just kind of a thing there. It's not always the case with Creator 3-in-1s, but that all the models will be of equal quality. In fact, it's often the case that there's some kind of diminishing returns as you go through them, but occasionally you get one where all of the models are quite good. I wouldn't say this is that. I prefer the camcorder to the TV, and I prefer the main retro camera model to the camcorder. So that's sort of the order I would go in. So I imagine a lot of people are going to probably just build the main model there. As I've said before, and I'll say again, I do like to experience all the different builds. It's inspiring to me. It's interesting to me. It's fun for me. I get a lot more play time and hands-on time with Lego from one set, and that's really, really enjoyable for me. So I definitely don't regret, building all 3 of these or taking them apart or everything, but it's very likely that if I'm going to leave this set together, I am going to go back to the base model, the main model, the retro camera model. I think there probably is a market for people to enjoy this and keep it this model. I'm not sure, but a couple color swaps in here wouldn't be too difficult, and so potentially could be really, really great. I would love to see other people do mocks of different retro TVs to see what is out there, but that's that. So again, these are the leftover pieces that were used in the main model, not used in this one. Maybe it's half or so. Over here we have the extra pieces that are just small enough that Lego adds an extra by weight in the bags. And $20 for this set, 261 pieces, I feel is pretty good. I think the $20 mark for the retro camera main build is about right, and it feels really good compared to the One Step Polaroid Ideas set, because that's like roughly twice as many pieces as this, but like 4 times as expensive. This is $20. I believe that one retails for $80. And then comparing this set to this, I'm probably going to go back to the camera, because I do like the idea of having all these different Lego cameras, and so that's kind of what my thoughts are on that. But I still very much enjoyed this set, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. So if you do like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including some of the other Lego Creator 3-in-1s that released for January 1st, 2024, and then tons of other sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you want to support my channel, you can do that right here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks. All that stuff helps me a lot. Every little bit helps, so I really appreciate it. And I still have the Patreon. It's linked in the video description. It's linked on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks, and you can get access to all my videos early before they're publicly up on YouTube. Same for the members, and some exclusive stuff for bigger sets and brick conventions and Legoland and lots of other stuff I have in the works, which I've been saying for a while, but I'm working diligently on that kind of stuff. So again, maybe consider checking out some of that premium stuff, or being a paid supporter. I appreciate it, but I appreciate anybody who watches, anybody who likes, comments, subscribes. It all means a lot to me, so thank you very much. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.